The vampire-occupied Altdorf is so abjectly pathetic that we'll auto-resolve through that. There are some larger vampire armies nearby, but like the rest of the rabble down here, they're avoiding me. Fortunately, we do now have access to the Summoners of Rage, who will join Kolek's army, as is appropriate. So we're going to recruit the Summoners there. Archaon levels up, so I'm going to go ahead and give him Kindle Flame, make units weaker to fire as he fights them. And as for Kolek, we should be able to finish off Monstrous Strength. And then we may want to work on that large vigor reduction for his army, since they're going to be reliant upon vigor. The vampires are spreading all over the place. Helmengorst is headed north into what's left of Karl Franz's empire. There's even a vampire invasion over here. We're going to put down the undead and allow our true foes to build up so that we get an honorable fight out of them in the end. It's time to push into vampire lands. I'm going to take Archaon forward and replace this armor piercing here. I like it on the knights with lances. Gonna auto-resolve this quickly. I'm hoping that we'll get a fight with the vampires here at any point. Helm of Many Eyes. May have a character that can be placed on. We've finished the raising that allows us to start to fight the battle for the Crown of Domination. We all know that we have a character at Besornling's camp. Bersonling's camp. Why do I always say that wrong? I'm in camp with Kolek. His growth is coming quickly, and we should be able to access the Dragon Ogre gathering rather soon. Let's just move a character, and we are now available with Archaon to teleport to the battle, and let's go fight that. But first, let's go ahead and mount Sextus on his Manticore, so that he and Appius are both astride Manticores in the battle. So here it is. We'll be fighting Intiro, chosen of Tzeentch, to obtain the Crown of Domination.
Even as this demon spawn plots to overthrow me, I know my destiny is absolute. Belacor will coronate me. Come then, Changer. Bring your best. I will prove once more that I am the ever-chosen. For I am the anointed, the bringer of woes, the one true Lord of Chaos!
Folks, here's a sight for you. We've got Appius and Sextus together again for the first time since the Western Rome campaign, I think. Flying side by side into combat. That is pretty cool. Over here, the Ever-Chosen, ready to prove that he is indeed the chosen of the Chaos Gods against Tzeentch's challenger. He's going to slam into these Warhounds with poison and pretty quickly dispatch them. There are some Chaos Warriors and Chosen nearby, as well as some Chaos Spawn who are considering to enter this fight. But I'm going to cycle charge, and then I'm just moving my other units into position. I'm going to swing Appius and Sextus over here to terrorize the Chaos Warriors and Chosen so we can quickly break through the flank with Archaon's Knights, while reinforcements have been summoned by the Lord of Change. You can see his reinforcements off in the distance there. Some more Spawn and some Trolls, Warhounds, and Marauders coming in. Lots of troops, but the quality of these troops is probably questionable at best. And you can see that Intiro here probably should have summoned a little bit more solid infantry line if he wanted to have any prayer. Lots of monsters here, which if you were fighting this early in the game with lots of Marauder units, this could be a very challenging battle. But with the heavy armor and the resilience of all the Chosen that we have, it is unlikely that the Lord of Change here will be able to change the tide of this battle, which is heavily stacked against him. You can see the Reavers of the Night Faith there in the distance. Mirror Guard. He's going to hit them with Searing Doom. I'm going to go ahead and engage all of his forces. You can see that his Chaos Spawn have come forward first. And in this particular battle, my Halberds and my Sons of the Last Plague are going to be particularly well suited to slaughtering our foes because there's so many large foes, and armored or unarmored, the poison and the anti-large on these guys is going to be absurd. Lord of Change goes ahead and swings into action over here, supporting his troops with Searing Doom. You can see Appius and Sextus dive bombing the Chosen over there, trying to flee up Archaon on that flank, while the infantry fight is fully engaged. My Chaos Knights are waiting in the background for the right moment, kind of letting the enemy fully blob before I decide to engage them in a massive rear charge to try and break the leadership of all the units that can be broken. The Chaos Spawn, not breakable. The remainder are. The Warhounds with poison have swung into the fight and are going to try and actually outflank me. But I've got my Manticores coming in. I'm going to use Appius to both use Enfeebling Foe and the Withering on Entiro. And then I will have Appius and Sextus move in for the kill, ridding us of the Lord of Change and prepping his army for a massive chain rout. So there comes Appius debuffing this foe. Here comes the charge of the Chaos Romans on their Manticore. Trolls arrive in the fight, but again, my armored infantry is just going to be a little too much for him to handle. The Lord of Change, speaking of too much to handle, is now out of his league in the fight that he's up against. A Sorcerer, yes. A Disruptor of Formations, yes. But a heavyweight slug out, not a fight that the Champion of Tzeentch is meant for. You can see that the bulk of Entiro's army is going to break following his death, knowing that they have indeed come up against the true Lord of the End Times. And here he is, actually. So Archaon rolling with his Swords of Chaos. They provide him that Guardian buff, where he gets extra physical resistance on top of his ward saves. They're going to roll in and clean up any remaining troops on the battlefield. Archaon overseeing the destruction of one of the few challengers dumb enough to face him in combat. And the battle is won. Entiro is defeated, and the crown of domination belongs to Archaon. Well, all I can say after that battle is that Tzeentch needs to try a little harder in who he chooses, because in Entiro, yeah, chosen as Tzeentch, but chosen for what? A plaything of Archaon's henchmen? Appius and Sextus put him out of his misery. And the favor, once again, is great. I will continue the push against the vampires, but we now have the Crown of Domination, which is going to give Archaon additional defense, attack, lower upkeep, and then the passive ability, which makes everybody within the radius immune to psychology. So pretty awesome special abilities that Archaon gains. So we now have the Armor of Morkar, the Slayer of Kings, the Eye of Shirian, and the Crown of Domination. All of these things. And his mount. So Archaon has completed all of his quest and takes on a lot of awesome abilities. So another turn later, we're ready to push forward, and the fight here that like I had mentioned, I'm going to take is we're going to push the vampires back. I want Bretonnia and the Empire to do some rebuilding, because I want a really good fight out of them. I don't want to fight flagellants and other crap. I want to be fighting great swords, demigryph knights. I want to be fighting the real deal when we fight them. And the vampires I don't so much care about, because they'll be kind of good to beat down anytime, honestly. So I'm going to go ahead and push through von Karstein lands. And I know this is a bit of a distraction from the campaign objectives, which is to take down Karl and the Empire. But I feel like, and I think you all will agree with me, and if you don't, it's fine. Tell me. Tell me what your thoughts are. But for me to go kill this sorry remnant of the Empire right now is just too easy. And so I want to give them some time to get stronger so that we have a more epic fight from the Empire during this this campaign. So anyway, that's all I'm aiming at right now. Nuln is very poorly defended. I'm going to continue the siege. You can see Vlad sitting back here. I'd love to fight Vlad and his armies, but you can see Isabella's actually right down here. They're avoiding me. My armies are so strong at this point that they just don't want anything to do with that fight. Look at Archaon's army. They lose like 2, maybe 3 warriors. 0, or like maybe like 5 or 6 losses from that one. 20 total losses. Armies are insane. I'm looting and raising everything because my growth is pretty good. And I mean, the 20 growth just isn't worth it. I just want to keep banking up favor so that we can have more armies. I'm about to recruit Sigvald soon. In fact, we'll recruit him before the end of the episode and start his army off. But I just wanted to get these other armies into a good position first. Monster strength, giant units. We probably want something that helps with chariots as well. Leadership, Aura of Chaos, Hearts of Iron. Yeah, we want this vigor reduction first, actually, because that's very important to this type of army that's running on very few units. We're going to take a little bit of vampiric corruption, or vampiric attrition. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do about this. I'm hoping that maybe Vlad and Isabella will combine to fight us, but not likely because they've been steamrolling the Empire with trash stacks, basically. Yeah, the auto-resolve is not good at handling trash stacks, and that's the reason why the Empire's getting steamrolled. Alright, so you all saw the turn in there. I was able to just quickly move forward, wreck the next von Karstein settlement. This is just honestly going to be some turn ending through some of this as we push them back, because you can see that they're attempting to avoid a fight at all cost. Pretty much all of our enemies are in the habit of avoiding a fight at all costs now, which is unfortunate. We were getting lots of fights earlier. It happens at some extent in your campaign whenever you get to a point where your armies are that strong. The AI's behavior in this game is better than most Total War games in the past, but they definitely will eventually get to the point where they just play the runaway game. Which, you know, a lot of people try and make the argument like, oh, that's just because the AI is actually being smarter instead of stupid. No, I mean, the point of the game is to have battles. You shouldn't have your AI programmed to run away from those battles. Yes, there should be some discretion, but when you start getting later into the game, they should be fighting. Alright, I've moved Archaon forward from Wissenberg, and I'm moving towards Feildorf. Isabella has some reinforcements, but it's still unlikely they're going to fight. So I'm just going to continue to push as far as I can into vampire territory. One good thing we've got here is we can actually now build the Dragon Ogre Gathering for Kolek. That'll reduce his upkeep on all these Dragon Ogres, and we can build it up to its 2nd tier and be able to get Dragon Ogre Shaggoths in his army. We've got a skill point here on Appius, and he has nearly finished his entire magic tree here other than Occam's Mind Razor. I'm going to go ahead and do Smoke and Mirrors, and then we'll do the Mind Razor. So I'm going to go through another turn in. Hopefully we'll get some aggression out of the vampires, but you'll notice that the AI doing its typical thing here too. Because I'm at war with all these factions, the AI has not chosen to be at war with a lot of the other factions. They're all trying to focus on me. And so where I came here and carved a path through Grunberg and Nuln, hoping that the Empire or Bretonnia would take it, here comes Skarsnik and just rolls right in and takes it for himself, and none of the other factions that are normally at war with Skarsnik are, because they're all at war with me. So I guess I'm the unifier, Archaon the Great Unifier.
Vampires, grey scum. I have little interest in your petty power games. What is it you want?
Look at this. Strength rank 3. 6. Begging for peace, offering me money. For goodness sakes, Manfred. Pull up your diaper, quit wetting yourself, and let's fight. Holy crap. I see Vlad, Isabella, and a Ghoul King down here. I'm gonna move into their path and do my best to get a fight started here. I don't know if they're gonna bite. I guess pun intended with the vampires there. It was unintentional, but hey, when in Rome. So, yeah, it works for me. I need just a little bit more growth here with Kolek. We'll get most of it here on this turn in. Let's see. Let's see if Vlad, Isabella, and Miland Gans is going to attack us here. Well, during the turn, all 3 vampire armies tucked tail and ran as fast as they could off into the mountains to the south. They're just attempting to avoid an engagement with me so that they can come back and try and resettle the territory that I leave vacant. So, very, very frustrating when you're trying to play a campaign and you just want to fight and the AI just runs. Again, I understand that they want to program the AI to not take engagements where it's, you know, definitely going to get wrecked, but there comes a point at which your 3 armies just ran away. Like here's one here. See, they just ran into the mountains. You're running into the mountains and leaving your settlements wide open. They will get burned to the ground, and I have a straight path to your capital. Like, there has to be some point at which the AI recognizes, like, oh, hey, we can't just leave the path to our capital open. But unfortunately, they can at this point. Can, did, and will. I think I'm gonna wait just a little longer for the growth and get the Giants camp, so that when we get the support army for Sigvald, we'll be able to put Crush Skull Foe Stomper into it. So the vampires run away from us continually, but there's no more running, at least not for Aberheim. Really? I don't know how Kolek couldn't reach Aberheim on that turn. It's a little bit frustrating. The thing is, we can automatically attack here too. There's nothing worth defeating in the garrison. In fact, actually, Kolek didn't even come in as a reinforcement. Really? He's standing right here. Hold on. Actually, I guess he's just barely outside of the range of reinforcement. Yeah, he's just okay. Well, that's stupid. Whatever. It's of little consequence. The loot is real, people. We got another 12% ward save on an assigned unit. Ooh, man, that'd kind of be a cool one to put on Skull-X, the Great Dragon. I think we'll do that the next time we get the opportunity. Headed into a battle, we'll put that on Skull-X. Piercing Bolts of Burning was one that we really needed here, and I'm extremely happy to get my hands on that. I'm going to go ahead and open up Flamestorm, and then I'll do the upgrade on both of those so that it costs less Winds of Magic. Oh, I get sick of that. I need to skip it every time. I'm just always clicking it to make sure that... Anyway, I'm going to end another turn, go eat all the halflings at the Moot, and then come in and burn their capital city at Tempelhof, or it wasn't Tempelhof, it was their capital. It's actually right down here, Schwarzhofen, I believe. Well, a couple turns later, I'm ready to attack the Moot, and look who comes crawling up behind me, having gone off and either fought a battle or gotten eaten up by attrition. Sorry, folks. I want big fights. If they would have just fought me earlier, it would have been so much more fun. But no, they had to run off like babies and be little cowards.
This serves the dark powers.
Just gonna move up Kolek and encamp here. I can't camp with Archaon, but we can upgrade Appius. Sextus and Appius are getting close to being able to unlock the immortality trait, which would be very good knowing that I can't permanently get them killed. Yep. Appius, be proud. You're now immortal. Look at these green skin moochers. I raised Nuln, or Grunberg, they took it. I raised Nuln, they took it. I raised Wissenberg, they took it. I raised Averheim, they took it. Look at this. Skarsnik the squatter. Ugh. The AI, folks. The AI. Well, there goes the capital. We picked up Filth Mace. Ooh. Poison attacks. I like it. Let's move Archaon up so that I have backup. I mean, Isabella is here. Vlad was somewhere nearby, but then took off. I'm going to get over here and see if we can stir up a fight with Manfred. I just want a battle before the end of this episode. I'm dying for a battle. I do have the quest battle with Kolek that we could fight. But I'd really like to have a battle with the vampires. We did finish we finished the whatever that one is, the weapons, ensorced weapon, yeah, wow. I can't say that. If you all want to say it in the chat, I'd appreciate it. Nurgle's got my tongue, and I can't pronounce it right now. I kind of want this demonic armor. Extra armor for Chaos Knights and Chosen. This one gives extra attack to Dragon Ogres and Shaggoths, which would be kind of cool too. But let's go with demonic armor first. Really focused in on Archaon's army.
Come, Counts. Abase yourselves before me. Bend the knee, and we'll talk.
Looks like that fight may be hard to come by, as Manfred is still begging me for peace.
What do you want, Grave Feeder? Have you run out of tombs to lurk in?
Yes, yes, yes. Khorne be praised. Khorne be praised. Look, we will finally get a fight from Manfred von Karstein at Castle Drakenhof. Finally, a proper fight versus the vampires. There will be a lot of Graveguard. There are going to be huge numbers of Vargulfs, cavalry, Vargeist. Finally. Oh my goodness, I'm excited. We finally get to take the fight to our enemy here. I'm going to pull up, and I'm honestly so enthused that I'm kind of hesitant to even come in and build. I think I will build siege equipment, though, because I want to trap Manfred here. So I'm going to continue the siege. And this may even have him draw in reinforcements to make this even more interesting. So I'm going to actually get some towers going. I'm going to continue the siege, because we've got him trapped here now. He has to fight. And like I said, maybe we'll get lucky and they'll bring even more reinforcements over and make this even more interesting, because I want a huge battle here. And with Kolek, I'm going to come over and go ahead and build up this Lightning Grounds building, and then this one here, the Reliquary of Chaos. That actually may get me into positive upkeep territory, but that'll also give me the ability to recruit some Shaggoths to make sure we can pound out all these Vargulfs.
Your abasement pleases me.
The Ripperhorn tribe is making an offer for me for a bunch of favor. They want to join the war against Talabheim land, which I could care less about them fighting Talabheim land. So I'm going to make a counter offer. I can make military. They have a vassal. I can't cancel any vassal status, and I can't make them a vassal. Apparently, that's Actually really frustrating. We could build up a military alliance, but I don't really want any of that. I just want them to fight von Karstein. So it seems likely that they'll do that, and so I'm going to pay them off to see if they can go finish off the remnants of the von Karstein faction. Well, it's a good thing that Appius just got the immortality trait, because he decided to go on a date with a vampire, and didn't end so well, but fortunately he's just wounded. Appius, come on, man. And the same thing with Sextus. Apparently they both managed to get caught up by the wrong people.
No mortal, no.
Always going after the ladies. Stay away from those vampire ladies, gents. Stay away. Alright, after a few turns, we are finally ready for the siege. I've got the towers, I have the extra Shaggoths. Let's roll, baby. It's time for a fight. It is time for a fight of epic proportions. There is going to be 9 Vargulfs on the battlefield to fight. Let's take a look at the Graveguard count. Looks like we're going to have 10 Graveguard, a couple of Cairn Wraiths, a huge contingent of cavalry, 2 Necromancers, and Manfred. And yeah, this is gonna be a big fight, so should be a lot of fun. Castle Drakenhof, the home of Manfred von Karstein, the pinnacle of the vampires' great extent, their empire, the Vampire Empire. Wow, those two rhymed, and I didn't really like that. But here it is, folks. The home of the von Karsteins. Bunch of Vargeist back here, and this is a custom map mod. My towers have already reached the walls, and let me show you the siege that's taking place. My chosen exited their towers, and I skipped through some of this because there was quite a long time that it took them to roll forward. And you can see Skull-X, the great Chaos Dragon here, coming in to fight as well for the first time in battle, and he is going to be a foe to be reckoned with that 15% ward save. I've also got Sextus dive bombing some of these Banshees because of his magical attacks. The number of Vargulfs we are facing is extraordinary at this point, so we do have a fight on our hands, but I have the troops to be able to handle those Vargulfs on both sides, but we are up against 9 of them. Over here, the AI was doing a little bit of weird stuff around the gates, so Archaon's having a bit of a duel with these vampires who think they're much tougher than they really are, and they decide that, yes, we should probably go inside and close the gates. As for the remainder of the vampire contingent, Manfred leading them here. This map is absolutely beautiful. So a lot of Graveguard with great weapons, Black Knights, more Vargulfs, lots of Black Knights. So the vampires have a huge contingent of forces, but they are just being absolutely out-muscled right now. As you can see that my chosen just cutting their way through Graveguard with great weapons, Vargulfs. These units are just not making a dent in my units. I've brought up the battering ram, which is otherwise known as Kolek. And I'm going to use Kolek to pound my way through the front gate. Skull-X is just tearing through vampire infantry. I'm going to get him back in the air here and use his breath ability. He's got a very potent breath attack that is somewhat similar to a Star Dragon. So I get Sextus back up, and then Skull-X, and I'm going to move him into position. Manfred is healing his troops. The Cairn Wraiths make the fight a little tougher over here too. So again, my units over here don't have magic damage, but they are still able to cut their way through this fight. I'm going to move Skull-X into position. I'll let you all see the awesome power of his breath attacks here. So we racked up about 84 kills in the first one, and after a short cooldown, or he had some kills prior to that, so actually not a ton of kills there. I hit a Cairn Wraith. We hit it pretty hard. The other side of the gate, I've got Kolek ready to move into position. I was busy microing that dragon, so it's a little bit slow to get him to the gate, but since the vampires don't have skirmishers, I haven't been under a huge pressure to break down the gate, but it certainly won't take Kolek long. Look at the damage that he causes. He's already at 45% damage, 51. It doesn't take long for Kolek to pound through a gate. Here comes the next attack by Skullx. Let's see where that one got him to. Yeah, I picked up about 40 kills on that one. And let's see what happens whenever the gate breaks. Folks, there are a huge number of Dragon Ogre Shaggoths and Dragon Ogres and Cavalry and Archaon himself right on the other side of this gate. So let's sit here and soak this in, soak in the cinematic beauty that's about to happen here, and one of the biggest monster slug out fights that you will see in Total War Warhammer 2. Look at this. The vampire was like, yeah, never mind. I'm gonna go over here in the corner. No one pay any attention to me, please. How appropriate that Kolek leads the way into this, completely fearless of his enemies. Here comes his cousins. Despite the fact that we're going to be opposed by Vargulfs, we're going to have a significant force coming through the gate. First the Shaggoths, then the Dragon Ogres, Archaon. You can see Archaon already up here. Archaon is attacking Manfred. And Manfred's right here in the center. He's got a lot of Vargulfs and cavalry protecting him. So again, this is not an insignificant force of large units. It would otherwise be fairly difficult to cut down, but anti-large is the speciality of Kolek's army. Kind of like Obi-Wan. Sith Lords are a speciality. Well, here you go. Kolek, we're a Jedi, then these are the Sith Lords that he's facing, but we all know that he would be more akin to a Sith Lord. And like I said, this is one heavyweight slug match here, and it is one that the vampires are losing massively, as my Dragon Ogre Shaggoths just cut a swath through the cavalry, and then the Vargulfs taking a little bit longer to single out, but they will be singled out and quickly destroyed. See back here that Skullx continues to feed on the undead. He will be tired after such a great victory today. Look at his health, all that fighting. He's been involved in 176 kills. That ward save is real, folks. Manfred is still relatively untouched. He's been safe amongst all the other units here. At this point, he starts to get surrounded. Archaon is near him. You can see, it's very hard to see actually because of the amount of action taking place here. You can see Manfred kind of pinned into this fight, and he's now completely surrounded by Dragon Ogres. And they are all taking shots at him. And Manfred starts to die very, very quickly here. I'm not going to be able to see him too great from up here. You can kind of see him right there in his horse. Desperately trying to keep himself alive with magic, and Archaon is going for a killing blow here. It's hard to even see him. Such a mess in there. Manfred is taken down, so all that's left is his Vargulfs. So despite having a massive garrison at Castle Drakenhof and an entire army from Manfred, the vampires just had no way to beat down the huge horde of cavalry and monsters, and then on top of that, their infantry was hopelessly outclassed by the Chosen of Archaon, who came here and absolutely mopped the floor with the vampire infantry and took the walls, didn't even have to assist in the fight against the large enemies, simply massacred the undead. And then Kolek opened the gate, if open is the word you want to use, more like crushed. And a victory goes, and to the victor, the spoils, as Castle Drakenhof is now under the control of the Lord of the End Times. So that right there is how you beat down vampires. I mean, folks, that was a lot of vampires, and relatively powerful ones at that. And you saw how my army just muscled straight through it. The chaos favor is absurd, and I love it. Archaon's gonna hit rank 30. And we're going to get 72,000 dark favor. And we've unlocked the Soul of Damnation as well. So this is a good place to leave off on this test episode. Kind of a test episode in the sense that it was longer. This has been fun to make, but oh my gosh, folks, this took so long. I don't know that I can do these long episodes every time. I wanted to do this as something special for those who have been asking for it, but having done this and gone through it, this is a huge amount of time to invest for the one episode. I'm certain that you all will like it, and I very much appreciate how much you've been enjoying it, that I will probably go back to about the normal 35 to 40 minute episodes, as those are something I can accomplish in a single night. Do hope you all enjoyed it, and guess what? There will be more coming back this weekend, so stay tuned as the End Times campaign continues. I think that we are getting our message across to the vampires and apparently freeing up a lot of real estate for the greenskins. I will see you all next time.